Our story begins during the Third Galactic War. The war was finally coming to an end. Across the galaxy, the forces of Revan and his allies had fought their way through countless worlds in a desperate attempt to stop Darth Tenebrae from resurrecting himself. At the center of the conflict, Tenebrae's dark ritual threatened to unleash unimaginable destruction. But Revan refused to let the Sith Lord return. With everything he had left, Revan and his allies managed to stop Tenebrae and destroy his attempt at resurrection. The galaxy had survived once again, but Revan's long war had finally taken its toll. As the battle ended, Revan felt his physical body beginning to fail. For centuries he had fought Sith Lords, armies, and even his own inner darkness. He had walked between the light and dark sides of the Force, and somehow survived both. Now, exhausted beyond anything he had ever experienced, Revan accepted that his journey had finally reached its end. He closed his eyes and prepared to become one with the Force. But instead of finding peace, Revan suddenly felt himself being pulled somewhere else. His consciousness was dragged through a mysterious void until everything around him disappeared. When Revan opened his eyes, he found himself standing upon a strange world, unlike anything he had ever encountered. The Force was incredibly powerful here, flowing through the land itself. Revan looked around in confusion before an elderly man appeared before him. The stranger calmly introduced himself as the Father and told Revan that he had accomplished something no other being had truly achieved. He had mastered both the light and dark sides of the Force without allowing either one to completely consume him. Revan remained cautious, but the Father continued, explaining that his destiny had not yet ended. The Father revealed that somewhere in the distant future, a child of immense Force potential would be born, the prophesied Chosen One. This child would possess the power to bring true balance to the Force, but his destiny could easily be corrupted without the proper guidance. The Force had chosen Revan to find him and train him. After centuries of war, Revan finally understood why he had been brought here. He accepted the will of the Force, and for thousands of years he remained upon Mortis, waiting patiently for the moment when the Chosen One would enter the galaxy. Then, one day, a powerful ripple spread through the Force. The Father appeared before Revan once more and simply said, "Your time has come." Revan's body began to glow as his form slowly vanished from Mortis, beginning a new journey that would change the fate of the galaxy forever. When Revan opened his eyes, he found himself standing in an ancient abandoned courtyard on Yavin 4. The jungle surrounded him, and the ruins were covered in vines and dust. Revan slowly looked around, trying to understand where the Force had brought him. Then, something caught his attention. Lying at his feet were his old mask and his lightsabers. Revan stared at them in silence before picking up the mask. Memories of countless battles flooded his mind. Wars against Mandalorians, Jedi, and Sith. He secured the mask to his belt, took his lightsabers, and began his search for the Chosen One. For the next several years, Revan traveled throughout the galaxy, learning about the civilization that had risen in his absence. He discovered that the Galactic Republic had become the dominant government, while the Jedi Order served as its guardians. The Sith, however, had seemingly disappeared from the galaxy. Revan observed the Jedi from a distance and quickly became concerned by what he saw. The Order had become deeply connected to the Republic and its politics, while countless people in the Outer Rim continued to struggle with poverty, slavery, and violence. Revan decided that when he found the Chosen One, he would not allow the Jedi Council to determine the child's destiny. Eventually, Revan followed a powerful presence through the Force to the desert world of Tatooine. His search led him into a small workshop where a toy Darrian was angrily shouting at a human woman. Revan immediately recognized the woman as a slave named Anakin Skywalker. Standing beside her was a young boy, barely 7 years old, quietly repairing equipment while trying his best to ignore the argument. Revan reached out through the Force and suddenly felt an overwhelming presence radiating from the child. His eyes widened. After thousands of years of waiting, he had finally found the Chosen One. Watto turned toward Revan and demanded to know what he wanted, but before the Toydarian could say anything else, Revan raised his hand and violently force-pushed him into the wall, knocking him unconscious. Revan then approached Shmi and the boy, speaking in a calm and reassuring voice. "I've come to save you." Shmi hesitated, but she knew that remaining on Tatooine meant her son would continue living as a slave. She took Anakin's hand and followed Revan to his ship. As they escaped the planet, Revan introduced himself as a former Jedi Master and revealed that the Force itself had led him to Anakin. He told Shmi that her son was the prophesied Chosen One and that he had been tasked with training him. Shmi didn't fully understand what Revan meant, but she knew one thing: her son was different. And for the first time in his life, Anakin was finally free. Revan eventually brought Shmi and Anakin to Mandalore. Although Revan remembered the wars he had once fought against the Mandalorians, centuries had changed his view of their people. He had come to respect their strength, traditions, and pride, and the new Mandalorian government had abandoned its ancient warrior ways in favor of pacifism. Revan believed Mandalore would be the perfect place for Anakin to grow up away from the influence of the Jedi and the Republic. He built a home for Shmi and Anakin and soon met with Duchess Satine, explaining that he was a former Jedi who wished to settle on Mandalore with his family. Satine welcomed them, allowing the three to begin a new life. Every morning, Revan trained Anakin in the ways of the Force. He taught him meditation, patience, and how to sense the Force flowing through everything around him. As Anakin grew older, Revan pushed him harder, teaching him to control his emotions rather than allowing anger or fear to control him. Their training eventually expanded into lightsaber combat, where Anakin's natural instincts quickly became apparent. Revan realized that the boy possessed extraordinary potential, but unlike the Jedi, he refused to teach Anakin to suppress his emotions. Instead, he taught him to understand them, believing that true balance came from mastering both the light and darkness within oneself. When Revan finally believed Anakin was ready, he took him to Elam to find his Kyber crystal. Deep within the crystal caves, Anakin followed the guidance of the Force and discovered a crystal of his own. After returning to Mandalore, Revan helped him construct his lightsaber. When Anakin ignited the weapon for the first time, a brilliant purple blade emerged. Revan looked at the weapon with pride, knowing it represented the unusual path Anakin was walking. Over the years, their relationship grew beyond that of master and apprentice. Revan had become the father figure Anakin had always needed, while Anakin had become like the son Revan never had. Eventually, Revan heard news that a massive war had erupted across the galaxy. Anakin asked if they should join the fighting, but Revan refused. He explained that a faction of the Republic had seceded because they were unhappy with the government's rule, and Revan believed the galaxy should resolve its own political conflict. Instead, he and Anakin ventured into the Outer Rim, where they helped free slaves and drove away pirates attacking innocent villagers. But while they were away, events on Mandalore began to change. The terrorist organization known as Death Watch had formed an alliance with Darth Maul and his criminal empire, preparing to overthrow Duchess Satine. And while Revan and Anakin were helping those in need, Mandalore was about to fall into the hands of a Sith Lord. While Revan and Anakin were away helping the people of the Outer Rim, Death Watch and Darth Maul's criminal forces launched their plan to seize Mandalore. They exploited the people's fear and dissatisfaction, turning them against Duchess Satine's pacifist government. Before long, Maul and his allies had taken control of the capital. Shmi remained on Mandalore when the takeover began, and she quickly contacted Revan to warn him. Revan listened carefully before telling her that he and Anakin would return immediately. They had built a home on Mandalore, and Revan would not allow the world they had chosen as their home to be destroyed. Meanwhile, Maul had successfully lured his greatest enemy, Obi-Wan Kenobi, back to Mandalore. Obi-Wan attempted to rescue Satine, but Maul's forces captured him and brought him into the throne room. Maul mocked Obi-Wan, reminding him of their battle on Naboo and the pain Obi-Wan had caused him. He then turned toward Satine, preparing to kill her and finally complete his revenge. But suddenly, every Mandalorian in the throne room was violently lifted into the air by an invisible force and hurled against the walls. The doors opened, and two hooded figures slowly entered the room. Revan stepped forward and called out to Maul, ordering him to surrender and leave Mandalore while he still had the chance. Maul laughed, believing that two Jedi could never stop him. Revan ignited his red and purple lightsabers, while Anakin ignited his purple blade. Maul's smile disappeared when Revan calmly told him, "We are no Jedi." Savage Opress activated his lightsaber beside his brother, and the two Sith charged. Revan immediately engaged Maul while Anakin fought Savage. The battle erupted with incredible speed, but it soon became clear that the Sith brothers had underestimated their opponents. Anakin's years of training allowed him to anticipate Savage's attacks, eventually baiting him into overextending before cutting cleanly through his waist. At the same time, Revan overwhelmed Maul, cutting through his weapon before driving his purple blade into the Sith's chest. With Maul and Savage defeated, Revan deactivated his lightsabers and rushed to help Satine while Anakin offered Obi-Wan a hand. Obi-Wan stared at the two mysterious warriors and asked who they were. Anakin looked toward Revan, who gave him a subtle nod. Anakin turned back to Obi-Wan and simply said that they were friends. Revan told Obi-Wan to take Satine to safety while he and Anakin dealt with the remaining fighting. Obi-Wan asked what they intended to do, and Revan answered that they were going to end the war before it destroyed their home. With the help of Bo-Katan, Obi-Wan and Satine escaped Mandalore. Revan and Anakin then joined Bo-Katan's resistance, preparing to fight their way through the remaining loyalists. The battle for Mandalore raged across the planet as Revan and Anakin fought alongside Bo-Katan's resistance. They stormed through the streets, cutting down Maul's remaining loyalists and pushing them farther away from the capital. Then Revan suddenly stopped. A cold and terrifying presence had entered Mandalore. Anakin felt it too. Revan looked toward his apprentice and knew exactly what had arrived. The two warriors separated from the main battle and followed the dark presence toward the throne room, where a hooded figure stood in silence. Darth Sidious had come to Mandalore to eliminate Darth Maul and destroy the criminal empire that threatened his secret plans. But when he entered the throne room, he was stunned to discover that Maul and Savage were already dead. Before Sidious could investigate, Revan and Anakin appeared behind him. Revan demanded that the mysterious Sith surrender himself. Sidious turned around and laughed, claiming that they had no idea who they were dealing with. Revan gave him one final warning, but Sidious simply ignited two crimson lightsabers and launched himself at them. The three warriors clashed with incredible speed. Sidious immediately targeted Anakin, believing the younger warrior would be easier to defeat. But Anakin's lightsaber technique was far beyond what the Sith expected. Revan pressed Sidious from the opposite side, forcing the Dark Lord to defend against two powerful opponents simultaneously. The throne room shook as blades struck stone, and the force erupted around them. Sidious began to realize that these two warriors were unlike any Jedi he had ever encountered. Revan's centuries of experience combined with Anakin's raw power was gradually pushing the Sith Lord toward defeat. Desperate, Sidious used all his strength to deflect Revan's attack and kicked him backward. He then hurled one of his lightsabers toward Anakin, forcing him to leap aside. The momentary distraction gave Sidious an opening to unleash a torrent of Force lightning, sending Anakin crashing to the floor. Sidious immediately ran toward the balcony, attempting to escape. Revan recovered and pursued him, leaping from the balcony as the two fell through the air. Sidious desperately blocked Revan's attacks, but Revan eventually struck him across the eyes. The Sith screamed in agony, giving Revan the opening he needed. Revan Force pushed Sidious toward the ground, slamming him into the surface and creating a massive crater. As Sidious struggled to rise, Revan landed on top of him. Before the Sith Lord could speak, Revan delivered the final strike, decapitating him. As the hood fell away from the severed head, Revan recognized the face of the Republic's Supreme Chancellor, Sheev Palpatine. Revan collected Sidious's two lightsabers and contacted Anakin, who had recovered from the lightning attack. Together, they returned to Coruscant and requested an audience with the Jedi Council. Battlemaster Chin Dralig initially attempted to stop them, but Obi-Wan stepped forward and explained that Revan and Anakin had saved his life and rescued Satine. The Council allowed them to enter, and Revan placed Sidious's lightsabers before Yoda. When Yoda activated them and saw the crimson blades, Revan revealed that the powerful Sith Lord they had defeated was none other than Chancellor Palpatine. The revelation sent shockwaves throughout the Republic. An emergency Senate meeting was called, and the truth behind the Clone Wars was finally exposed. The Republic and Separatists had been manipulated into destroying each other by a Sith Lord hiding at the highest level of the government. With Palpatine dead, the Senate held an emergency election, and Padme Amidala was chosen as the new Chancellor. One of her first actions was to open negotiations with the Separatist government. Both sides eventually agreed that the Republic and Confederacy could coexist as separate governments, provided the Separatists surrendered the locations of Count Dooku, General Grievous, and the remaining Separatist leadership. The Separatists revealed that Dooku, Grievous, and the remaining leaders were hiding on Mustafar. The Jedi Council immediately organized a final assault, sending Obi-Wan and Mace Windu to lead the mission. Revan and Anakin volunteered to join them, and a massive clone battalion descended upon Mustafar. The final battle of the Clone Wars erupted as the four warriors tore through the Separatist armies. Windu and Revan confronted Count Dooku, and despite the Count's mastery of Makashi, he could not withstand two warriors of their experience and power. Revan eventually struck Dooku down. Elsewhere, Obi-Wan and Anakin confronted General Grievous. Obi-Wan's defensive mastery blocked the general's relentless attacks, while Anakin's overwhelming power eventually destroyed him. With Dooku and Grievous defeated, the Clone Wars finally came to an end. When the heroes returned to Coruscant, Yoda offered Revan and Anakin a place within the Jedi Order. Revan respectfully declined, believing the Jedi had lost their way long ago, and Anakin chose to remain beside the man who had raised and trained him. The two returned to Mandalore, where they discovered that Bo-Katan and her warriors had defeated the remaining loyalists and liberated the planet. Satine returned alongside Obi-Wan, who chose to leave the Jedi Order and remain with her. Mandalore celebrated its freedom, while Revan and Anakin were honored as heroes who had saved their home. As the galaxy began to heal, Revan looked upon Anakin and realized that his mission had finally been completed. He had found the Chosen One, raised him without allowing fear or hatred to consume him, and given him the freedom to choose his own destiny. Anakin Skywalker had brought balance to the Force, not as a Jedi or Sith, but as something greater. And after thousands of years, Revan finally knew that his journey could end in peace. And that is where our story ends. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you all for the support. And as always, may the Force be with you.